Welcome everybody. It's another episode of the B2B e-commerce integrated talk.
Today we have a sexy topic.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Today we will talk about regulations and privacy rules when it comes to B2B e-commerce. Arno, tell me, why did you choose this topic for today's session?
Yeah, so the main reason was actually I was looking at the things we are doing at Sana, right? We are building a product for our 1,500 customers, B2B e-commerce platforms. And I just realized that how much time and money we are actually spending on compliancy.
Well, indeed, talking to customers, we see they spend a lot of time. It's complex topics that involves a lot of expertise.
Yeah.
Can you maybe explain a bit more? So you talked about ISO certification, GDPR, but can you maybe explain a bit more the key challenges that our customers, for example, are seeing?
Yeah. So I have a slide about that. Did a little bit of research on how many different types of compliancy there is. I put 7 different logos on the screen, but in general, you have what we call regulatory compliance. So that's enforced by law, by governments. That's the first one. And the other ones that follow that can actually fall under that main umbrella, right? Because it's the law, then that's even more strict. If you're doing B2B e-commerce, you have to deal with all those different aspects in many different forms. And I think we will touch upon a couple of things because I realized when talking to customers how much manual work was still there to follow this, and that people are spending also so much time on this. And also today, I think we will look a little bit at customer samples, of course, but also to the future, right? So I think that was my interest statement on this topic. Yeah, you can follow all the rules nicely, but can the customer trust you or the B2B buyer? Can you trust you as a company? Or can we trust the government, or can the government trust us? So most of the time that's being arranged with third parties that are being authorized by a group of people or by governmental control, or by to say, hey, you can decide if a company is doing well or not, or is compliant in a certain on a certain topic or a certain area. But also that is, I think, getting more and more complicated because, and also money-wise, it's can be expensive for companies because you need to sometimes hire these third parties, or you need to. There's also a business model sometimes behind it.
Investing in all these certifications can also make your customers trust you more if they see that you're investing in that.
Yeah.
Well, let's because this is it's a lot of information, but it's abstract, let's say, in a way.
Yeah.
Let's go into some more concrete examples because we have customers who have already solved some of these challenges.
Yeah, and one of the customers that I want to highlight today is Trilocate. So they are selling, let's say, plants from the office and so on. But they are artificial plants, right? And they even had it on their homepage, so that triggered me as well. So they say, hey, we have a new product, it's called Fire Silks or something, and they are there are some standards are there. It's like 3501 and DIN. Some DIN standards are all standards in construction standards to say, hey, this is safe for that's tested for fire risk and so on. And also the products then they are in a certain category, but also based on ERP data, they have these nice logos, for example, that you can put on an image, based on the attributes that you set on the thing. So there's no double work or manual work to do that on all those things. So this is just a simple example that you do not have to duplicate stuff. So that is one. For example, another example is a company from Denmark. It's called Ferdo. They are selling heatlets, so to heat your house. And they also have a special product category. I found just when I was looking and browsing through our custom portfolio, they have a special product category for FSC certified wood pellets. So you can choose if you want to have the regular ones or the ones that has more sustainable production standards, right? And that is, I think, an environmental compliancy that they are applying here. And also based on attributes, they are saying, okay, these products we're putting in a separate category. and no need to do that in a double work. Also, when I was checking this website, I also saw that they are, with Trustpilot and some local one, I think from Denmark, they also had some other compliancy that they are sharing with their customers. So, and the third one I want to share with you is Integria. And Integria is a company from Australia, and they are selling, or they are a producer of let's say in healthcare. And so they are selling let's say oils or medicine, mostly for physiotherapists and so on. And yeah, we had a nice podcast recording a couple of weeks ago with their IT director, which was a great story. You can find the link probably in the channel. He was explaining a lot about also the regulation in healthcare and how integration or Sana helped them to automate a lot of these things. And one example which I really want to share here is that they clearly, and it's maybe a little bit small, but in the account details below, they really define what kind of customer are you? What are you? What are you a business? Are you a student? Are you a certain practitioner with some certification or not? And based on that, regulation apply what you can sell to them or what not. And also that is, let's say, with the personalization option that we have in Sana, all automated, or at least it saves them a lot of work, because they can create, for example, content based on the logged in user, and just show what is really necessary for these people, and also what you can show. But also for the products that they are sharing or selling, that is also being controlled, right? So within Sana, within the ERP, you can define, okay, for which customer groups do you want to sell certain products to, right? And that is I think an interesting way of dealing with all this regulation, and not although doing that by hand or something, or so you can just make these product groups based on these attributes, and the rest will be automated. And these are just a couple of examples. Yeah, this is more on the customer side of things. The other two were more on the product side of things. There are two more things I do not have a slide about, but also that I want to share, and which I think is nice to have a full picture, like things like GDPR or ADA, or other regulations more in that, data security and so on. Our customers do not really need to do something. I think that is more the responsibility from us as a platform to supply all the tools to help them to be compliant with that. So at least from the scope that we are having, GDPR is of course broader, but at least from the scope that we are doing. So we are taking care of that, like other vendors are doing that as well. But just for the listeners to understand that. And another interesting one, where I think the power of our solution comes to play, is, for example, tax regulation, because tax can be complicated, especially in the US or in the Americas with sales tax. But we are, most of that logic is inside the ERP, so it's already there. Or we are working with third-party add-ons like Avalara. Avatax is one of the major players here. Yeah, they are specialized in this. So we are working together with them and making sure that our customers do not spend a ton of time to it to make that happen, right? So and I also have already seen add-ons also, for example, for Business Central or SAP that can help you with other compliancy, right? Just by looking at the data. So these are interesting areas.
And a few years back, everybody was talking about GDPR. Yeah. That was the hot topic. Now we hear a lot about also regulation on artificial intelligence. Mm-hmm. What is the hot topic at the moment, and what are the topics that are coming up also in the future?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think around artificial intelligence, of course, that is going really quick. Yeah, we just, I think 2 episodes ago, we did a session about OpenAI and ChatGPT. I think for that part, it is mostly about that the existing compliance will be adjusted so that, you know, the new trends or the new technology enhancements around artificial intelligence will fit in these regulations. So about privacy, so GDPR will be probably, you know, extended or changed a bit, and so on and so on. But what I think, listening at customers, or also what is, you know, throwing at us as a company, I think all the environmental things are really now the new cool, or the hot talks in town. The carbon footprint that companies need to calculate, the regulation and compliance around that. And also, yeah, like vendors like Sana that we need to supply to most of the time larger customers, saying, hey, how large is the carbon footprint of your web store, right? That is something we hear now more and more.